The sky above the jungle was dark with clouds. Rain had fallen all night, turning the ground into thick mud. Jack Walker, a human explorer, walked slowly through the wet forest. He had come to this planet, Arvis 9, for peace and study. He wanted a break from war and machines. He carried a small scanner and a rifle on his back just in case. The planet was quiet. Too quiet. Birds didn't sing here. Animals didn't show themselves. Even the trees looked tired. Jack's boots made soft sounds in the mud. As he walked near a river, he heard something strange, a weak noise, like a cry or a whisper. He stopped. The sound came again. Jack moved toward it slowly, pushing aside tall, wet leaves. Then he saw her. A figure was lying in the mud, half covered by dirt and leaves. Her skin was grayish-blue, and her long white hair was soaked and stuck to her back. She had no clothes, only broken metal cuffs around her wrists and ankles. She was breathing, but just barely. Jack's eyes widened. She was an alien woman. He looked around. No one else was nearby, no ships, no tracks, just her, alone, cold and dying. Jack knelt beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" he asked gently. Her eyes opened just a little. They were bright purple, glowing faintly even in the dim light. She tried to speak but only let out a soft sound like a cough. "You're hurt." "I'll help you," Jack said. He knew it was risky. She could be dangerous. Maybe she was a trap. But something in her eyes told him she wasn't. He picked her up carefully. Her body was light, almost too light. She didn't resist. She just stared at him, her lips shaking from the cold. Jack carried her through the forest back to his small base, a hidden shelter built under a rocky cliff. Inside, he placed her on the medical bed and turned on the heater. He cleaned the mud from her skin and scanned her with his medical kit. The scanner beeped. Unknown species. Vital signs unstable. No threat detected. She had many small cuts, bruises, and burns on her body. Her legs were swollen, her hands trembling. Jack wrapped her in a warm blanket and gave her a few drops of healing serum. She winced but didn't fight. Her eyes stayed on him, full of confusion. And something else. Fear. "I'm Jack," he said softly. "I don't know who you are, but you're safe now." She blinked slowly. Her lips moved. "Look, Ella." "Name? Lyra?" Jack guessed. She closed her eyes. A tear rolled down her cheek. That night, Jack stayed awake, watching her. Rain fell harder outside. He sat near the bed, thinking. Who was she? Why was she here? Where did she come from? He checked the scanner logs. No ships had landed in the last week. No signals. No alerts. But someone had dropped her here. Or left her. Suddenly, the room lights flickered. Jack stood up quickly. The woman, on the bed, was shaking. Her body glowed faintly, especially around her chest. A soft humming sound came from under her skin. Jack grabbed his rifle but didn't point it. He moved closer, watching carefully. Then it happened. A bright light shot out from the center of her chest. It was like a hologram, but in a strange alien language Jack didn't understand. Symbols spun in the air, then vanished. She gasped and sat up, eyes wide. "Don't move. You're still weak," Jack said. She looked around wildly, breathing fast, panic in her face. Jack slowly lowered the gun and raised his hands. "You're not a prisoner. I saved you." She looked at him. Her chest stopped glowing. She blinked. Then slowly she whispered, "Help me." Jack's heart sank. She was scared. She was hurt. She was lost. And now she was his responsibility. He didn't know what danger was coming. But deep down, he knew something was watching. Morning light slipped through the cracks in the shelter's walls. Jack opened his eyes slowly. The rain had stopped. The forest outside was silent again. He looked over at the bed. She was gone. Jack stood up quickly, grabbing his rifle. Panic rose in his chest. The woman, Lyra, he had started calling her, was nowhere in sight. Then he heard it, splashing water. From the nearby stream behind his shelter, he rushed outside. There she was. Kneeling in the stream, Lyra was gently cleaning herself. The mud was almost gone from her skin. Under the light, her body looked different, strong, yet delicate. She had strange glowing lines running across her arms and back. Not tattoos, something inside her skin, like soft circuitry. Jack stepped closer. "You shouldn't be out here, you're still healing." She turned her head slowly, her purple eyes watching him. "I needed water," she whispered. Her voice was still weak, but clearer than yesterday. Jack nodded. "Come inside, it's not safe." She didn't move. Her eyes scanned the trees. "They followed me," she said suddenly. Jack froze. "Who?" She pointed to her arm, the glowing lines. "They marked me, tracked me." Jack helped her back to the shelter. His mind was racing. Who was following her? And how close were they? Inside, Lyra sat quietly on the floor. Jack activated his scanner again, this time expanding the search radius. No signals. But just as he relaxed, the scanner blinked red. Unidentified energy source detected. 0.8 kilometers. Jack's breath caught. Something was nearby. "Lyra," he said. "Tell me the truth. What are you running from?" She looked down. Her fingers trembled as she held the blanket tighter. "They made me in a lab. Not born. Built. I was part of a group. A project. I escaped. But they sent hunters, machines, always watching. Always smelling." Jack leaned in. "Machines?" She nodded. "Not alive. Not dead. They don't talk. They don't stop." Jack stood up and locked the shelter doors. He activated his perimeter alarm system and loaded his rifle. "If they come, we fight." Lyra looked at him with wide eyes. "You'd fight for me?" Jack didn't answer, but the answer was clear in his face. She looked down again and whispered, "They won't come in daylight, but they're here, I can feel it." Jack turned to the scanner. The energy source was still hovering near 800 meters, but not moving, watching. He opened his old tech box and pulled out a cloaked motion trap, a silent drone with hidden eyes. He set it to patrol the area and report back. The rest of the day passed slowly. Lyra ate some human food. She didn't like it, but she tried. Jack gave her a clean set of clothes, his own, oversized for her small frame. She sat quietly most of the time, watching the sky or drawing patterns in the dirt floor with her finger. That night, Jack sat at the edge of the shelter, watching the trees through the scope of his rifle. Then, his comm beeped. The drone sent a signal. Motion detected, 16 meters from the river. Unknown creature. He switched to live feed. The drone's camera showed a tall black figure with metallic skin and glowing red eyes. It was crouched low, sniffing the air, moving like a predator. Then it looked straight at the drone. The feed cut, off. Jack's heart pounded. He turned to Lyra. "One of them is here." She didn't seem surprised. Instead, she walked to the far wall, knelt down, and placed her palm on the metal plate. It glowed. A small door slid open. One Jack didn't even know existed. "What is that?" he asked. She looked back at him. "Safe room. I remembered it just now. I've been here before, long ago." Jack helped her inside. The room was small, with thick walls and no windows. Hidden tech hummed quietly inside. "Stay here," he said. "I can help." "No," he replied. "You need to rest. I'll deal with it." As Jack closed the door, Lyra whispered, "Don't let it touch you. If it does, it can see your memories." Jack's eyes narrowed. He locked the safe room and turned back toward the forest. His rifle ready, heart racing, he stepped out into the night. Whatever was out there, it wasn't just hunting Lyra. It was already inside his mind. Jack didn't sleep that night. He stood guard outside the shelter, his rifle cold in his hands. Every shadow between the trees felt alive. Every rustle of leaves made his finger tighten near the trigger, but nothing came. At dawn, He unlocked the safe room. Lyra sat curled up in the corner, her eyes open, glowing softly. She hadn't slept, either. Still out there? She asked. Jack nodded. Maybe, maybe not. But we'll find out soon. He gave her some water. She drank slowly, her hands shaking a little. Then she looked at him, a strange expression on her face. Half fear, half trust. Something happened last night, she said. I dreamed. But it wasn't just a dream. I saw flashes, a room, white walls, cold metal, and pain. Jack sat beside her. Do you think it's your memory returning? Lyra hesitated. Maybe. But it didn't feel like mine. It felt shared. That made Jack frown. Shared how? She turned around. There's something on my back, I can feel it. Jack gently moved her hair aside. Underneath, hidden between her shoulder blades, was a strange raised symbol. It wasn't a tattoo. It looked burned into her skin, glowing softly with violet light. Jack scanned it with his portable analyzer. Code fragment detected. Hidden holographic data source. Suddenly, the scanner beeped. A small hologram burst into the air, spinning alien symbols and flickering shapes. A voice, mechanical but female, spoke in a language Jack had never heard. Lyra gasped. Her eyes rolled back for a second. The hologram changed. Now it showed a girl, her, younger, inside a lab. Dozens of doctors in white suits stood around her. She was hooked to wires, screaming. A machine hovered above her, burning that same mark into her back. Jack's jaw clenched. They branded you like property. Lyra's voice trembled. I wasn't the only one. There were more of us. Children. We were trained. Some were taken away. Others disappeared. I ran. The hologram ended. Lyra slumped forward. Jack caught her before she fell. You're not property anymore, he said. You're safe now. But in his heart, he wasn't sure. Something didn't add up. If she had been here before, why did she forget? Why did the shelter respond to her? Touch, but not his. He ran another scan on the walls. Hidden systems activated. Long-range comms, encrypted power cores, and even a deep memory storage unit. All locked behind genetic code. Her code. Lyra, he said. This place was built for someone like you, maybe even by you. She looked up. I don't remember that. I was just a child. Jack connected his data pad to the wall console. One file unlocked. It was written in 2 languages. One alien, one human. Project Celestia, genetic design, for interspecies integration. His blood ran cold. What is it? Lyra asked. Jack stepped back. You weren't just made to fight. You were made to blend in, to be like us, or maybe to replace us. Lyra's face turned pale. No, that's not who I am. You don't know who you are. Jack snapped, then instantly regretted it. He took a deep breath. Sorry, I just need answers. Lyra looked at her own hands, the glowing lines beneath her skin. I don't want to be a weapon. I want to choose my path. Outside, the forest had gone quiet again. Too quiet. Suddenly, the outer sensor beeped. Jack's eyes shot to the monitor. Heat, signature approaching 0.3 kilometers, unidentified biological tech hybrid. They're coming back, Jack said. Lyra stood, her eyes flashed. Then we find out the truth. Together. Jack reached into the storage unit and pulled out an old alien pulse blade. Short, deadly, silent. He handed it to her. Do you know how to use this? She nodded slowly. It feels familiar. Just then, the scanner screen blinked. New signal detected. Biological match. Subject Ly-03. Termination protocol active. Jack stared at the words. LY-03. That's you. Lyra looked up at him, fear blooming in her eyes. They don't want to capture you, he whispered. They want to erase you. Outside, the wind picked up. The shadows in the trees moved, and this time, they were coming closer. The sky above the jungle burned orange. The sun was setting, but this sunset didn't feel peaceful. Jack stood near the shelter door, rifle ready, staring at the scanner screen. A red dot was moving fast toward them. Too fast. Inside, Lyra sat on the floor, holding the pulse blade in her hands. She was quiet, but her body shook. Not from fear, but something deeper. Something waking up inside her. They activated a termination order, Jack said. Whoever made you doesn't want you back. Lyra looked at him, her purple eyes glowing stronger now. Then I will not go back. The trees outside rustled. Then, silence. Jack flipped off the safety. His hands were steady. Whatever's out there, it's not coming to talk. A deep, heavy thud echoed through the trees. Then another. Not. Footsteps. Landing. Jack stepped outside slowly, rifle raised. A figure stood at the edge of the clearing. Tall, armored in black and silver metal. Its body was smooth without a face. Just one glowing red eye in the center of its helmet. A symbol shone on its chest. Jack recognized it from Lyra's hologram, Project Celestia. The creature moved like a ghost, silent, fast. In a blink, it closed, half the distance to the shelter. Jack fired. The pulse blast hit it in the chest, but the armor absorbed it. The creature didn't flinch. Instead, it raised its hand. A beam of red light shot out. Jack ducked and rolled. The beam sliced through, the tree behind him turning it to ash. From inside, Lyra screamed, "It's a retriever. It doesn't feel pain." Jack ran inside, slammed the door shut, and locked it. Lyra was standing now, the blade humming in her hand. The glowing lines in her skin were brighter than ever. "He's not here to kill me quickly," she whispered. "He wants to wipe everything, even my memories." Suddenly, the lights flickered. The shelter's systems began to fail. The retriever was hacking into the power grid. Jack moved to the backup panel. "I'll switch to manual override. Buy us time." But Lyra stepped forward. "No. Let me try something." She placed her hand on the wall. The lines in her skin pulsed. The shelter's lights flashed bright, then returned to normal. The retriever's signal was cut off. Jack stared. "You overpowered him?" Lyra nodded. "This place listens to me." Before Jack could speak again, the wall exploded. A blast of force knocked them both to the ground. Dust filled the air. The retriever stepped through the smoke, glowing red and deadly. Jack fired again, but it was useless. The creature moved too, fast, slamming Jack into the wall. He groaned, blood trickling from his forehead. Lyra screamed and charged forward, blade ready. The retriever grabbed her by the neck and lifted her off the ground. Her body glowed bright. The air around her shimmered. Then, boom, oh! Pulse of energy burst from her chest, throwing the retriever backward. Jack struggled to his feet. "Lyra!" She fell to the ground, coughing, her hands shaking. The retriever stood again, but its armor was cracked now. Jack aimed at the damaged spot and fired. The blast pierced through. Sparks exploded from the retriever's chest. It dropped to its knees. Jack didn't stop. One more shot to the head, and the red eye went dark. Silence. Only the sound of breathing, his and hers. Jack dropped to his knees beside her. "Are you okay?" Lyra nodded slowly. "I remembered something. While he was holding me, I was trained to resist them. I was made for this." "You were made to be a weapon," Jack said, "but you're choosing something else now." She looked at him. "I chose to protect you." They sat there for a long moment, surrounded by smoke and sparks. Then Jack stood and walked to the wrecked body of the retriever. He pulled something from its chest, a small black cube. "What's that?" Lyra asked. "Data core. Might tell us where it came from. Or who's next." Lyra stood up, weak but steady. "They'll keep sending more." Jack nodded. "Then we keep moving, we find the truth, and we end this." She walked beside him, the lines on her skin dimming. "I'm not afraid anymore," she said. Neither was he. But far above, in the clouds, something was watching. Another ship, and this one wasn't sending just one hunter. The jungle was burning. Behind them, Jack and Lyra ran through thick smoke, their feet slipping on the wet ground. The retriever's destroyed body still lay back in the ruins of the shelter, but it had sent a final signal before dying. Now the sky wasn't quiet anymore. A second ship had arrived. Bigger, silent, hidden above the clouds but watching everything below. Jack's tracker couldn't see it, but his gut told him, "They know exactly where we are." "We have to get to the ridge," Jack said, breathing hard. "There's an old cave network under the cliffs. It'll block their scans." Lyra didn't reply. She was too focused, eyes locked forward, blade in hand. Her glowing skin had dimmed, but the power in her body pulsed with every step. They reached the ridge before nightfall. The cave mouth was narrow, hidden behind vines. Jack pushed through first. Inside, it was cool and quiet. He activated a small light orb. They went deeper. Stone walls curved like a tunnel. The walls were covered in strange alien carvings. Lyra stopped suddenly. "I've been here," she said. Jack turned. "What?" "I remember this place. I trained here, a long time ago, before I escaped." She stepped forward and ran her hand over the symbols. Her fingers moved in a pattern, like muscle memory. One of the walls lit up and opened, revealing a dark room filled with old machines and stasis pods, but all of them were broken. "Others were here too," she whispered. "Like me." Jack walked through the dust-covered lab. Broken wires, empty control screens, blood on the floor, dry and old. "They erased it all," he said. "They didn't want anyone to remember this place." Lyra walked to the center and knelt. "I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the fastest, but I survived. That's why they want me gone." Jack crouched beside her. "You don't have to run anymore. You can fight." Lyra looked at her hands. "I'm scared. What if I lose control? What if I hurt you?" "You saved me once, you'll do it again." Suddenly the stone above them cracked. Then boom. The roof shook. Dust fell from above. A loud screech echoed through the caves. Jack looked at his scanner. 3 life forms, not human, dropping into the caves fast. "They sent hunters," Lyra said. Her voice was calm now. Her fear was gone. Jack handed her a second pulse blade from his gear bag. "This time, we fight together." The first hunter arrived, slender, fast, with 4 arms and razor-sharp claws. It didn't speak. It just launched forward with deadly speed. Jack fired. The bolt hit its shoulder but didn't stop it. Lyra stepped forward, spinning the blade. She jumped, twisting in the air, and sliced off its head in one clean motion. Jack stared. That was insane. "I remembered," she said, breathing hard. "They taught me how to kill, I just never wanted to use it." 2 more hunters appeared behind them, blocking the exit. "Stay behind me," Jack yelled. "No," Lyra said. "I'll protect you now." Her skin lit up again. But this time brighter. The lines across her body glowed like fire. Her eyes turned white. Jack stepped back, shielding his eyes. Lyra moved like lightning. She ran straight at the first hunter, jumped off the wall, and slammed both blades into its chest. The creature screamed, but she spun midair and kicked the second one in the face. The last hunter tried to grab her from behind, but she dropped low and drove the blade into its leg. The cave shook with the battle. Sparks flew. Jack shot when he could, but mostly he watched. He watched her become who she really was. Not a weapon, a protector. When the last hunter fell, the cave was silent again. Lyra stood in the center, blood and ash on her skin, eyes glowing. She turned to Jack. "I didn't lose control. I chose every move." Jack walked over and touched her arm. "That wasn't just fighting. That was something else. That was you taking your life back." She looked down at the blade, then dropped it. "I don't want to kill, but I will never run again." Jack smiled softly. "Then we hit them first." Above the cave, the enemy ship waited. But now, Lyra wasn't just surviving, she was ready to lead the fight. The fire mountain burned like a sleeping beast on the horizon. Smoke curled from its mouth. Rivers of lava lit the sky with an orange glow. No creature dared go near. That's why Jack chose it. Radiation blocks scans here, he said as they stood at the edge of the scorched valley. They won't find us easily. Lyra stared at the glowing cracks in the earth. It's alive, she said softly. This place breathes heat. The land cracked and shifted beneath their feet as they made their way up the rocky path. Jack led carefully, his eyes scanning every ridge. The enemy ship hadn't followed yet, but they both knew it wasn't far behind. They reached an old bunker near the volcano's side, abandoned, rusty, built long ago by miners who fled when the ground started burning. Jack kicked open the door. The air inside was thick with heat and dust. Lyra coughed. How long can we stay? Long enough, Jack replied. To plan. To decide our next move. Inside, they sat in the dark. Jack turned on a small light. Lyra leaned back against the wall, her eyes half closed. The fight had drained her. Her glowing marks had faded to a soft pulse. You were amazing back there, Jack said quietly. I've seen soldiers, fighters, machines, but nothing like you. She didn't answer right away. Then she whispered, I'm scared I'll become like them. You're not like them, Jack said. You're not a weapon, you're a person. Lyra looked at him, her eyes shimmering. No one ever told me that before. Outside, the volcano rumbled. Later, as Jack checked the comms, Lyra stood by the broken window, looking out into the red mist. Her voice was soft. I wasn't alone. In the lab, there were others like me, children, hybrids. Some didn't survive, some were changed. Jack looked up. You think any of them are still alive? I don't know, but I feel them. Somewhere in the stars. Then the comms buzzed. Jack rushed to the screen. Signal detected. Incoming transmission. Source unknown. A voice came through. Cold. Synthetic. Subject Li-03. You have failed to comply. Final retrieval unit is en route. Non-compliance will result in planetary cleansing. Jack's hands tightened. They're going to burn the planet. Lyra's face hardened. Then we stop them here. Suddenly, a blinding light burst through the bunker window. They ran outside. A sleek ship hovered above the lava fields. Black, smooth, silent. Its lower bay opened and something dropped from it. Not a hunter. Something worse. It landed with a heavy impact, cracking the ground, 10 feet tall, covered in living armor, eyes burning like stars. Jack pulled his rifle. Run! But Lyra stepped forward. No, this is where it ends. The creature spoke. Its voice echoed without sound like it was inside their heads. Li-03. Surrender and be dismantled. You are property of Celestia Command. I am not property, Lyra growled. I am free. She moved faster than Jack had ever seen. Flames lit her path as she charged. The ground cracked under her feet. She met the creature in a burst of fire. It struck her with a massive fist. She flew back but landed on her feet. Blood ran down her arm, but her eyes burned brighter. Jack opened fire, drawing the creature's attention. It turned toward him. That was the mistake. Lyra jumped onto its back, drove her blade into a weak spot behind its head. Sparks exploded. The creature screamed, tossing her off. Jack grabbed a plasma grenade and tossed it. Boom! The blast rocked the valley. The creature stumbled but didn't fall. Then Lyra stood again, limping, bleeding, shaking. She raised both hands, and the volcano answered. A wave of heat pulsed outward. Lava shot upward behind her like wings of fire. Her body glowed like molten metal. She was no longer just Lyra. She was fury. She was flame. She charged one last time, slamming into the creature, pushing it toward the cliff. Jack screamed, Lyra. She looked back at him, smiled. Then she shoved the creature off the edge. Both of them fell into the lava below. The mountain shook. Then silence. Smoke rose. The ship above began to retreat. Jack dropped to his knees, heart hollow. But then, a flicker, of light. From the lava, a figure rose, burned, weak, glowing, but alive. Lyra. She collapsed at his feet. Jack held her close. "You're alive." Barely breathing, she whispered. "Told you. I choose." The fire had calmed. The volcano no longer roared. Lava moved slowly now, like a glowing river under a starless sky. Jack sat in the bunker doorway, holding Lyra's head in his lap. She was alive, but barely. Her skin was burned in places, glowing lines now dim and flickering. Her breaths were slow, shallow, almost silent. "You shouldn't have done that," Jack whispered, brushing her white hair out of her face. Her lips moved weakly. "I did it because I wanted to." He didn't answer. What could he say? She had thrown herself into molten death to stop something built to destroy her. And she had survived it. Barely. He had never seen anyone do something like that. Not human. Not alien. Not even machines. But Lyra. She was something else. Not a weapon. Not a soldier. Something new. The next morning, Jack went outside. The enemy ship had vanished during the night. No more hunters. No more trackers. Just the smell of smoke, heat, and ashes. He found the black cube he had taken from the first retriever still intact. A data core, a final piece of the puzzle. Back inside, he plugged it into his data pad. Static filled the screen, then cleared. Celestia command. Project Omega status. Terminated subject Y03. Critical threat level. Immediate elimination required. Reason. Subject has displayed emotional autonomy, unpredictable behavior, and resistance to core programming. Potential outcome: cross-species empathy, code breach, universal contamination. Jack read the last part again. Universal contamination. They were afraid of her, not because she was dangerous, but because she cared. That was their fear, that she was becoming human. Lyra awoke 2 days later, weak, pale but conscious. Her first words were a whisper. "You stayed?" Jack smiled. "Of course I did." She sat up slowly, pain clear in her face. But her eyes were focused now. Strong. "I had dreams," she said. "Not memories, dreams. I saw places I've never been, people I've never met. I saw children laughing, a beach, stars. I don't know what it means." Jack sat beside her. "It means you're not just remembering your past. You're imagining a future." Lyra looked at him. "Do I have a future?" Jack nodded. "We'll make one." The days passed. They repaired the old comms tower at the edge of the valley. It took time, tools, and lots of silence. But one night, Jack boosted a signal far enough to reach a nearby space station. He called for help, not from the military, not from the government. He contacted the Free Worlds Network, a hidden group of humans and aliens working together for peace and truth. They answered. When they learned about Lyra, who she was, what she'd done, they didn't attack. They asked to meet her. Lyra was scared. "What if they see me and still think I'm a threat?" Jack looked into her glowing eyes. "Then they're blind, because I've seen who you really are." The ship landed 1 week later. A human pilot and 2 alien diplomats stepped down from the ramp. Jack stood beside Lyra, holding her hand, not as her guard, not as her protector, but as her friend. The lead diplomat, a tall, blue-skinned woman, scanned Lyra carefully, then smiled. "You are the first," she said, "but not the last." Lyra blinked. "What does that mean?" "We believe there may be others like you, hidden, forgotten, or running. You can help find them. Teach them what you've learned. Help them feel safe." Lyra looked at Jack. He nodded. "You don't have to run anymore. Not if you don't want to." She smiled. A real smile. Soft. Pure. They left the planet. Together. The stars opened wide before them. But the galaxy wasn't easy. News spread fast. The Celestia command collapsed. The truth about their secret lab projects, their hybrid experiments, and the Project Omega files were exposed. Some people were horrified, others inspired. Lyra became a symbol, not of war, not of fear, but of choice. The first of her kind to choose kindness, to protect instead of destroy, to love instead of follow orders. She visited hidden colonies, met young hybrids who had no names, no homes. She gave them hope, gave them names. She told them stories, not about killing, but about the day she fell into mud, broken and afraid, and a human picked her up. Months later, Jack stood beside her again, on a peaceful green world, under a bright blue sky. Children ran in the grass, hybrid children, human children, laughing together. A school had opened there, a symbol of peace, and Lyra was its guardian. Jack looked at her. "Did you ever think we'd end up here?" She chuckled. "No. I thought I'd die in that jungle." He took her hand. "But you didn't. You fought. You survived. And now, you live." She looked at the children. "They deserve better than what I had, and now they'll get it." A small girl ran to Lyra and hugged her legs. "Miss Lyra, tell us the story again, about the fire mountain." Lyra smiled. "Again? That's the 5th time." The girl giggled. "It's my favorite." Jack stepped back as Lyra knelt to tell her story again, this time not as a fighter or a fugitive, but as a teacher, a guide, a hero. Epilogue: in deep space, far beyond the colonies, a signal pulsed quietly. It came from a hidden lab, cold, dark, forgotten. Inside, a pod opened. Another set of glowing eyes awakened, but this time there was no fear. Because somewhere out there, a girl named Lyra had already lit the path and others would follow.